Hello interwebs, how are you doing? I'm doing well. I'm just here at the Dark Moon Fair on my mage. I figured since I didn't do in-game World of Warcraft footage yesterday that I would do it today for my Q&A, and this is what you're watching right now is my 5th Q&A, and I hope you do enjoy this video. If you do, remember to comment and rate it thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to ask me a question for the next time that I do a Q&A, I answer them every Thursday, and you can email your questions to asktradechat@gmail.com. So I'm going to go ahead and start the questions, and I hope you like it. The first group of questions that I'm going to answer come from Larry, and I really like these questions, so I wanted to answer all 3 of them. The first one is, what are your most loved and hated changes in World of Warcraft? Probably my most loved change in the entire time I've been playing World of Warcraft is the ability to do cross-server instances and cross-server BGs, and now the cross-server looking for raid. That is probably, in my opinion, the best change they added to WoW, and I use it all the time, every single day. I absolutely love that because I have characters on like 3 or 4 different servers, so it saves me a lot not having to pay for server transfers in order to play with my friends. So I really like that change. Probably my most hated change in WoW, and this is like really stupid, but I really dislike that you do not heal as a resto druid in tree form anymore. Part of why I chose being a druid when I first started playing WoW is because of the forms, and it's upsetting to me that they made the form a cooldown. Druid healing was never about cooldown healing. That just wasn't, I don't know, not a huge fan of the way that tree form works now. I really preferred it when druids stayed in their forms, personally, just me. Then the next question he asked was, have you ever played any sports games like Madden or turn-based RTS games like Axis and Allies? And I have played sports games in the past. Not a fan though, not my cup of tea. I'm not really a sports fan to begin with, but I guess if I was going to play a video game, I would not want to play a video game where I was playing a sport. It's just not my cup of tea. But there is actually a mini game in Little Big Planet 2 that's like a basketball game, and if anybody's played this, back me up on that being like one of the best mini games you've ever played in your life, because it is so awesome. You can like pick up the people you're playing against and like chuck them across the court. It's really fun. So that's about as sportsy as I get. Then you also asked about the turn-based real-time strategy games, which I don't believe I've ever played a turn-based RTS. I do play StarCraft 2, but that's about as far as my RTS skills go. I've played Halo Wars before too, but I definitely wouldn't want to play an RTS on console. It's very awkward playing with a controller. So the answer to that one is no. And then his last question is, if you were given a programming staff and infinite funds to create and design a game just for you to play, what would it be? And the truth is, if I was given a programming staff and infinite funds, I wouldn't create a game just for myself to play, because I definitely prefer games like World of Warcraft. There are MMOs that allow you to interact with other people. There aren't many occasions where I am a huge fan of sitting down and playing games 100% by myself. If I was given a programming staff and infinite funds to design a game, I would design a children's game. Not so much for me to play, but for other people to play, because I definitely think that gaming had a huge influence on my childhood, and I would love to pass that on to someone else. So yeah, that's my answer to that one. The next question comes from Matthew, and he's so cool because his name is spelled, and at the end, instead of EW, it's IEU, and I really appreciated that you told me how to pronounce your name, because I struggle sometimes and I don't want to mess it up, so thank you. And he said, I was wondering if you were able to choose, what WoW class would you be for a week in real life? I would definitely be a mage. I like literally think it'd be so cool. Blink. And then if you're arcane spec, you can get improved blink, where you like sprint really fast afterwards. Invisibility, conjure food and water, portals to anywhere. That's freaking awesome. Yeah, I would definitely be a mage, I think. Yeah, I would be a mage. The next questions come from Josh. He asked 2, and he said, the first one said, you've commented before that you went to college for a bit. What was your major in? And I went to college for 2 years. I did not finish because of some financial issues, but I went for 2 years, and I was dual majoring in biology, chemistry. I got really good grades. I wanted to go into pharmaceuticals for like veterinary practice, which is like kind of a really specific thing to want to do, but that was what I wanted to do. I worked at the Humane Society at the time, and I saw kind of the ins and outs of that kind of field, with like the vet giving dogs like medicine and putting them under anesthesia and stuff like that, and that was what I really wanted to get into. But that was 4 years ago. No, that was 5 years ago. And being totally honest, that's not really where my passion lies now. That was where my passion laden. I don't know. That's where it was then, but not really what I want to do anymore. If I were to go back to college, I would probably go back for maybe like communication or journalism. I'm not really sure, which is why I haven't gone back yet, because I right now have like almost $40,000 in student loans and no degree. So I want to make sure that when I go back, I know that I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. And then his second question was, I've seen a few times where you would stream a game or just chat with fans every so often. Do you have plans of doing that on a more normal basis? And I'm really glad that someone asked this, because I actually do plan, I'm moving in about 2 weeks. And when I move, we should be able to get Fios where we're moving. So that will be awesome. I really have very not good internet here, and not to mention my computer is awful too. I've given you guys the specs in the past because nobody seems to believe how terrible my computer is, but it's really not great, and streaming is really intense on your computer. So I'm hoping that sometime in January I should be able to start doing a weekly live stream, and then you guys can watch it and you'll be like, oh my god, I'm watching you live, and I'll be like, oh my god, you're watching me live, this is so cool. And that'll be how that goes. So yeah, thank you for the questions, Josh. The next question comes from Daryl, and he asked what I use to edit and record my in-game videos, and I use Sony Vegas Pro 11 to edit. Most of what I've learned I have been taught by either Yum Fries or Wow Crendor has helped me a lot. I've also watched a lot of tutorials on YouTube. It is a pretty difficult program to use, and if you're not doing a lot of video editing, it's kind of expensive, but it definitely gets the job done, and I'm learning how to use it, and the more I learn how to use it, the happier I am with it as software. It does a lot of stuff. So and then as far as what I use to record in-game, I use Fraps, which is actually pretty cheap. It's like I think $38, and it's nice because you can put it on more than one computer, and it works really well. There's no watermark. My only complaint would be that the files are huge, but they're really high quality, and you can delete them after you've rendered them. So yeah, I use Fraps and Sony Vegas 11. And then the last set of questions comes from Don, and he asked me 2 questions. The first question is, are you single? If not, will you marry me? Totally joking. And I've said it in videos before, but people don't know, I guess. I'm not single, so I'm sorry, Don, I can't marry you. And then the second question is, how did you get started with video games in general? WoW history would be cool. What got you going on your first console and or PC games? I actually did a vlog a while ago where I kind of went through the process of me becoming a gamer, and I mean, it was probably like a year and a half ago, but as far as what started me out gaming is my dad. My dad played video games, and I to this day really look up to my dad a lot, so I wanted to do what he did, but I didn't want to go fishing because then I'd have to touch fish and that's gross. So so I decided to be a nerdy gamer instead. So that was how it really started. But I got really into World of Warcraft when I met Nick, and I mean, you guys can honestly thank him for this entire channel, because he was the one who really got me into World of Warcraft. And when I started showing interest in doing YouTube, he was like, maybe you should do a WoW channel, blah blah blah. So I mean, he's the whole reason that I have this channel, and the reason that I play World of Warcraft, even though it's funny because I play so much more than he does. It's ridiculous. He's loser. So he's not really a loser. So yeah, those were this week's questions. If you want to ask me a question for next week, you can email it to asktradechat@gmail.com. And again, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, remember to comment and rate it thumbs up. And I love you all so very much from my heart. So I'll see you soon. Bye.